In this week's news, we have big changes coming for the virtual queue at Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. We also have Disneyland Paris closure news and Disney's official statement on the entertainment layoffs that we saw last week. For these stories and more, please stay tuned. Hi, I'm Brooke with Disney Castle Dreaming Travel. I'm a lifetime Disney theme parks fan and an authorized Disney vacation planner. My absolute favorite thing is helping people plan amazing Disney vacations, especially now when things have gotten so confusing and complicated. We post Disney Parks news updates every Wednesday. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be sure that you don't miss any of our future. Let's get to the news. Halloween is over and the holidays have arrived at Walt Disney World. It always amazes me how absolutely quickly Disney makes the transition from fall and Halloween decor to winter holiday decor. It really does happen overnight. In the Magic Kingdom, most of the holiday decor is already up, but the official holiday season begins in the parks on November 6th. In the Magic Kingdom, Cinderella Castle will be lit up with festive projections during the evenings to serve as a holiday backdrop for guests and for photos. Santa Claus will be making special pop-up appearances at all 4 theme parks, waving and calling out holiday wishes. Of course, we can all count on holiday merchandise and special holiday food and beverage offerings throughout the parks. The character cavalcades are also getting a holiday twist, so you can expect to see holiday parade favorites like the gingerbread men and the toy soldiers to show up at some point. Now, over at Animal Kingdom, their version of the character cavalcades are the flotillas because they're floating on the river, and then Hollywood Studios character motorcades, all of those are also going to get the holiday treatment. When we're on site next week, I'll make sure to get pictures so that I can come back and share with you all whatever the new holiday twists are on the various character efforts in the parks. In last week's Parks News update, we did talk about the heartbreaking layoffs of the vast majority of the cast members in Walt Disney World's entertainment division. On Friday, Disney released their official statement on these layoffs. Please head over to the blog if you want to read the statement in its entirety. However, here are the basic. Number 1, it's pretty vague, and it does try to focus on the positives, meaning what entertainment does still exist in the parks. For example, they point to character cavalcades and surprise pop-up appearances by characters in the parks. They also point to, for the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration as a show that is happening in Hollywood Studios. They also point to the Discovery Island drummers appearing over at Animal Kingdom and the Main Street Philharmonic in the Magic Kingdom. Finally, Disney mentions the Epcot holiday celebrations that we talked about last week, which begin on November 27th and will include performances of Voices of Liberty, Jammers, and the Mariachi Cobra. Number 2, Disney talks about how determining which shows can return and when is a complex and difficult process. And finally, the statement concludes as follows. As it is appropriate, we will start to bring additional entertainment back. Like most of our fans, we know that our beloved entertainment cast are an incredibly special and essential part of the Disney experience. We look forward to the day when we can welcome back more live entertainment to our parks, and we will share more news as we're able to do so. I find this statement both disappointing and frustrating. Do I understand that Disney feels they cannot allow most shows to resume right now due to social distancing requirements? Yes and no. Disney has been able to reintroduce the Frozen sing-along celebration, which is a show, successfully. And many of the theaters in the parks are outdoor venues. It sure seems to me like some shows could return with seating clearly marked and restricted to provide proper social distancing. It seems almost convenient to me that they're blaming the ongoing and unfortunately perhaps escalating COVID-19 crisis as the reason that there's almost no entertainment in the parks, rather than the more probable reason, which is budget cuts. And why are the Jammers okay to perform in Epcot on the Mill Stage in Canada, but the Japanese Taiko Matsurisa drummers in Japan are not okay? And don't get me wrong, I love the Jammers, and I'm really happy that they will be performing this holiday season, but again, I suspect the bigger issue remains the low priority placed by Disney Parks management on entertainment and a lack of appreciation of the immense value that is added to the Disney experience by the street entertainers, the musical performers, and the stage shows throughout the parks. I personally feel that this statement by Disney plays lip service to the value of entertainment. However, even by pointing out what is still happening in the parks, they almost make it more obvious that they don't really prioritize entertainment anymore. I really hope that I'm wrong about this, and that in the coming weeks I will be reporting to you on various entertainers being called back to work. I'm hoping. What are your thoughts on Disney's statement and on Disney's actions regarding entertainment? I would love to hear from you. Please share it in the comments below. If you're enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, and click the bell below to make sure that you don't miss any of our future videos. We come to you every week on Wednesday with the latest Disney parks news from around the world. Now, back to the news. Disneyland Paris closed again beginning on Friday, October 30th, 2020, due to France entering a second nationwide lockdown due to a surge in COVID infections in that country. Disneyland Paris operations said in a statement that this closure is, quote, in line with the latest direction from the French authorities, end quote. Disneyland Paris has indicated that they hope to reopen for the holiday season, and based on that hope, they are taking reservations for December 19th through January 3rd. However, the decision to whether they can actually reopen for those holidays will be based on prevailing conditions and government guidance that's available at that time. Further, even if they're able to open for the holidays, Disneyland Paris will be closed from January 4th through February 12th, 2020, again, pending French government guidance. Disneyland Paris initially reopened July 15th, along with the Walt Disney World theme parks in Florida. These Disneyland Paris announcements follow an announcement last week from French President Emmanuel Macron implementing a new nationwide lockdown that the president said will last until December 1st at minimum. Non-essential businesses, restaurants, and bars are closed throughout France. French citizens have been instructed to stay home except for essential activities like buying food or seeking medical care. So far this year, France has reported more than 1.2 million coronavirus infections and 36,000 deaths. We have some potential good news for Disney Hollywood Studios fans hoping to ride the extremely popular Star Wars Galaxy's Edge attraction, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Since this ride first opened last December at Disney's Hollywood Studios, it has been plagued with difficulties. The attraction implements a lot of new technology, and unfortunately, this has resulted in fairly frequent breakdowns or shutdowns. The ride was never added to the Fast Pass Plus system, and instead, since it began, it has used a virtual queue system since it opened. The way the virtual queue system has worked is that a guest must be inside Disney's Hollywood Studios and request to join the virtual queue when the queue opens, and that's using your My Disney Experience app on your phone. If the guest is successful, they're then assigned to a boarding group and given an approximate time when their boarding group might be called. The number of available boarding groups per day vary, but it's based on Disney's expectation of how many rides they expect the attraction to fulfill that day. Getting assigned to a boarding group does not necessarily guarantee that the guests will be able to ride the attraction. Breakdowns or shutdowns or even slowdowns can significantly impact the number of boarding groups that the ride can fulfill each day. Prior to the shutdown in April, guests could only request to join the virtual queue when the park first opened in the morning. Guests had to physically be in the park before the park opened, and when the queue filled, that was it for the day. And the queue usually filled within minutes, if not seconds. When the parks reopened in July, Disney tried a slightly different strategy. They moved to opening the virtual queue twice a day. Once when the park officially opened at 10 a.m. in the morning and once in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Both queue opportunities required that the guest be physically inside the theme park at the time they requested to join the queue. And if guests had already been successful in getting assigned to a boarding group in the morning queue, then they were not permitted to enter the afternoon queue. Each guest can only ride the ride once per day if they're successful in getting assigned to a boarding party. Since the parks reopened in July, this procedure has created some interesting things. Because park hopping is not allowed right now, if a guest wants to ride Rise of the Resistance, they have to commit to Hollywood Studios for the day and be inside the park before 10 a.m. to hopefully get a spot in the virtual queue. Due to social distancing issues, Disney has been limiting guests actually riding the attraction to one party per ride vehicle. This has significantly slowed down an attraction that already struggles with capacity and staying online. The end result is that Hollywood Studios is consistently pretty crowded with guests that are there primarily because they want to ride Rise of the Resistance, and they may or may not be successful in their quest, resulting in their return on yet another day, and the cycle keeps repeating itself. This week, Disney has put into place 2 new procedures that will hopefully help alleviate these challenges. First, Disney has put a piece of plexiglass into the ride vehicles between the 2 rows of seats. This will immediately double capacity on the attraction, which is huge. Disney has also made a very important, very helpful change to the virtual queue situation. Now, guests who hope to ride Rise of the Resistance can request to enter the virtual queue at 7 a.m. from their hotel room or breakfast or wherever. The only thing that is required is a park reservation for Hollywood Studios for that particular day. And of course, that requires a park ticket for that day. Why does this matter? Well, because if the main reason that a guest was planning to visit Hollywood Studios on a particular day was so that they could get a ride on Rise of the Resistance, and they are unsuccessful at joining the queue at 7 a.m., they at least have some option. They don't have to be physically in the park by 10 a.m. then. They could change their plans completely for the day and visit a different theme park entirely. And this is, of course, assuming that there's reservations available for other theme parks on that day. A disappointed guest could play at the pool or play golf in the morning, visiting Hollywood Studios in the afternoon with the intention of trying to join the virtual queue that's available at 2 p.m. The guests could choose to ride the Skyliner for a while instead of rushing to the park in the morning. There's just lots of different options. The 2 p.m. virtual queue does still exist, and that one does require guests be physically inside the park to join virtual queue. It is my hope that these changes will loosen up the stranglehold that Rise of the Resistance has been having on visitors. Hopefully, more guests will be able to ride each day, and fewer guests will crowd into Hollywood Studios in the morning in the hopes of riding that one attraction. Next week, we're going to be at Walt Disney World ourselves, and we'll be able to test out the new virtual queue system from our hotel room. I will, of course, be sure to update you on our success or lack thereof with Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Next week's Disney Parks News Update will be filmed while we are on site at Walt Disney World. So it may be a little on the rough side, but we will do our absolute best to still get it posted and finished on Wednesday. Thank you in advance for your patience with us, just in case we're late. We are really looking forward to updating you with our in-person, on-the-ground experiences in the parks. And that's it for this week's Disney Parks News Update. I'm Brooke with Disney Castle Dreaming Travel. We come to you each Wednesday with Disney Parks News Updates. We also post Disney travel planning tips, resort and restaurant reviews, and other Disney-related topics. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be sure that you don't miss any of our future videos. If you have an idea or a suggestion for a topic that you would like us to cover in a future video, please let us know by commenting below or visiting us over at the blog at disneycastledreaming.com. Thank you for watching, and happy dreaming.